What if I told you that the moment you close your eyes tonight could be the most dangerous moment of your entire day? Not because of the dark, not because of nightmares, but because of 5 completely ordinary things most people over 50 do before bed. Things that feel harmless, that nobody warns them about, and that quietly push the heart and brain toward crisis while the rest of the body is asleep. I am not here to frighten you. I am here because the science is clear, the risk is real, and this is the part that matters. Every single one of these habits is fixable, tonight if you choose. And the 5th habit, the one almost nobody talks about, is one that cardiologists are now calling the hidden trigger. We will get to it, but first, let us understand why nighttime is so dangerous for the heart in the first place. Here is something that surprises most people. Sleep is not a passive off switch. While you rest, your body is doing some of its most important work, repairing blood vessels, clearing waste from the brain, regulating hormones, and resetting blood pressure. In a healthy adult, blood pressure naturally dips by 10 to 20% during sleep. Cardiologists call this being a dipper, and that nighttime dip is protective. It gives the heart a genuine rest period. But research published in the journal Hypertension has shown that adults over 50 are far more likely to be non-dippers, meaning their blood pressure stays high or even rises during sleep. And when that happens, the risk of a nighttime cardiac event rises sharply. According to the American Heart Association, a significant proportion of fatal cardiovascular events in older adults occur between 1 in the morning and 6 in the morning. The reason is not random. It is directly connected to what we do and do not do in the hours before we sleep. So let us go through the 5 habits. And I want you to be honest with yourself about how many of these apply to you right now. The first deadly nighttime habit is eating late and eating heavy. Think about a typical evening in many households. Dinner gets pushed to 8 or 9 at night because of work, family obligations, or just habit. And because you have not eaten much all day, the meal is large, maybe pasta, bread, a generous portion, followed by something sweet. That scene is playing out in millions of homes tonight, and here is what is happening inside the body while it does. After a large meal, your digestive system demands a significant increase in blood flow to break down food. Your heart responds by working harder, pumping more blood toward your stomach and intestines. Your blood pressure rises. Triglycerides in the blood increase, and rather than shifting into rest mode, your cardiovascular system is running at near daytime intensity. A large study published in the European Heart Journal followed more than 100,000 adults over several years and found a clear link between habitual late dining and increased nighttime cardiovascular risk, particularly for older adults. There is also an underappreciated secondary effect. Going to bed with a full stomach increases acid reflux. And acid reflux is not just uncomfortable. When stomach acid irritates the esophagus, it can stimulate the vagus nerve, a nerve that runs directly to the heart. In some adults over 50, this stimulation can provoke irregular heart rhythms, particularly in those with pre-existing cardiac conditions. The good news is immediate. Moving your main meal to earlier in the evening, ideally before 7, and keeping it lighter allows your heart to enter sleep already in rest mode, not recovery mode. But here is the habit that surprises most of my viewers, because it involves something that is supposed to protect you. We will cover that next. The second deadly nighttime habit is taking medications inconsistently or at the wrong time. If you take medication for blood pressure, cholesterol, or heart rhythm, this section is especially important for you. Please do not skip it. Most people know they should take their medication. What most people do not know is that when you take it can be just as important as whether you take it. Blood pressure follows a predictable 24-hour cycle. For most people, it begins rising in the early morning hours, even before waking. This morning surge in blood pressure is one of the most common triggers for heart attacks and strokes, and it is driven partly by your body's internal clock. Research published in The Lancet found that for some patients, taking at least one blood pressure medication at bedtime rather than in the morning was associated with significantly better nighttime blood pressure control and lower rates of cardiovascular events. This does not mean you should change your medication schedule without talking to your doctor. It means the timing conversation is worth having. What is more dangerous is inconsistency. Missing doses intermittently, a few nights here, a few mornings there, creates unpredictable pressure spikes. And spikes during sleep, when no one is monitoring and no help is nearby, are when the damage is most likely to go unnoticed until it is too late. A simple approach that works. Link medication to an existing nighttime habit. Brushing your teeth, setting your alarm. The ritual makes it automatic. And automatic habits do not get forgotten. Always speak with your doctor before changing when you take any medication. But please, have that conversation. The third deadly nighttime habit is undiagnosed or untreated sleep apnea, a condition hiding in plain sight. I want to ask you something. Does your partner ever nudge you awake at night? Have you been told that you snore really loudly, or that you sometimes seem to stop breathing for a few seconds? Do you wake up most mornings already tired, even after a full night of sleep? If any of those sound familiar, I want you to pay close attention here, because what I am about to describe affects an estimated 1 in 4 adults over 50, and the majority have never been diagnosed. Sleep apnea is a condition where your airway partially or fully collapses during sleep, causing you to stop breathing repeatedly, sometimes dozens or even hundreds of times per night. Each pause drops the oxygen level in your blood. Your brain detects the drop and sends an emergency signal. Stress hormones flood the system, your heart rate spikes, blood pressure surges, then you resume breathing, often without fully waking, and it happens again. Over months and years, this repeated stress cycle damages blood vessels, raises baseline blood pressure, and dramatically increases the risk of nighttime heart attack and stroke. Research published in the New England Journal of Medicine has consistently shown that untreated moderate to severe sleep apnea significantly elevates cardiovascular risk in older adults. Here is what makes this especially difficult to catch. Most people have no memory of waking up. They just feel exhausted. They attribute it to aging. They never ask their doctor about it. Warning signs to discuss with your doctor include loud, chronic snoring, waking with a headache, dry mouth in the morning, blood pressure that is hard to control despite medication, and unexplained daytime sleepiness. A sleep study, which can now often be done at home with a simple device, can diagnose this definitively. Treatment options, including CPAP therapy and positional aids, have a strong evidence base for reducing cardiovascular risk. This is not a cosmetic fix. This is cardiovascular medicine. The next habit is one that almost everyone over 50 does deliberately, believing they are protecting themselves. And that is exactly what makes it so dangerous. The fourth deadly nighttime habit is going to bed dehydrated. After 50, the body's thirst signals become less reliable. You genuinely feel less thirsty, even when you need fluids, and many people make a deliberate choice to limit water in the evening to avoid nighttime bathroom trips. It sounds sensible. Physiologically, it can be harmful. Here is what happens inside your circulatory system during overnight dehydration. As the body loses water through breathing and natural perspiration during sleep, blood volume decreases. The blood becomes more concentrated, thicker. Thicker blood moves more slowly through vessels and is more prone to forming clots. Now layer on the normal physiology of sleep. Heart rate slows, circulation slows, blood pressure drops. If your blood is already thick and sluggish, the flow to critical arteries serving the heart and brain can fall below safe levels during the deepest stages of sleep. Research in the Journal of the American Heart Association has shown that even mild dehydration measurably affects blood viscosity and cardiovascular function. And the risk is compounded in older adults whose kidney function and fluid regulation are less efficient than in younger people. The practical solution is small and specific. Drink 1 moderate glass of water, about 8 ounces, 1 to 2 hours before bedtime. Not right before lying down, which can disrupt sleep. 1 to 2 hours before. Use the bathroom just before getting into bed. Keep a small glass of water on your nightstand for sips if you wake during the night. This is one of the simplest, lowest effort changes on this list, and its effect on overnight blood flow is real. Now we come to the 5th deadly nighttime habit, the one the competitor video missed entirely, and it involves your bedroom environment. Most people think of their bedroom as simply where they sleep, but your bedroom is a physiological environment, and 2 of its most controllable features have a direct effect on your cardiovascular system overnight. First, temperature. When your room is too warm, consistently above 24 degrees Celsius or 75 degrees Fahrenheit, your body works continuously to release excess heat. Heart rate stays elevated. Blood pressure regulation becomes less stable. The deep, slow-wave sleep your cardiovascular system needs for genuine recovery becomes harder to reach. Cold extremes are equally problematic. When temperatures drop significantly, blood vessels constrict, a reflex that increases vascular resistance and forces your heart to pump against higher pressure. For older adults with arterial stiffness, a cold bedroom is not restful. It is a physiological challenge the heart has to push against all night. Research from sleep medicine institutions consistently identifies the range of 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, roughly 18 to 20 degrees Celsius, as optimal for both sleep quality and cardiovascular stability in older adults. Now, here is the insight that most health channels never mention: the blue light from your phone, tablet, or television. Blue light suppresses melatonin production, the hormone that signals your body to begin its nighttime repair and blood pressure regulation processes. When melatonin is delayed, the protective nighttime dip in blood pressure is also delayed or diminished. In adults who are already non-dippers, as many over 50 are, an additional hour of screen exposure before sleep can meaningfully extend the period of elevated nighttime pressure. A study published in the Journal of the American Heart Association linked poor sleep quality, worsened by evening screen use, to increased markers of arterial inflammation in adults over 45. The practical guidance is simple. Set your thermostat towards 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit before bed. Set a screen-off point 45 to 60 minutes before you plan to sleep. This is not about willpower. It is about removing the trigger so the behavior changes naturally. Now that you understand all 5 habits and why they matter, let me give you something you can actually use tonight. You do not need to do everything perfectly. You need consistency with a few key anchors. At around 6:30 to 7 in the evening, aim to finish your main meal. Keep it moderate. Lean protein, cooked vegetables, easily digestible carbohydrates. Avoid very large portions and high-fat, high-salt foods in the evening. At around 7:30, drink your evening glass of water. This is your hydration anchor for the night. If your doctor has prescribed evening medications, take them now or as directed. At around 8, begin winding down. A gentle walk, light reading, calm conversation, or quiet music. This is also the time to begin reducing screen brightness. At around 9, prepare your sleep space. Adjust the thermostat to the optimal range. Place a small glass of water on your nightstand. Dim the lights. At around 9:30, take your final bathroom visit before lying down. If you take bedtime medications, use this moment as your second reminder for that habit. Move slowly, especially if you experience dizziness when standing up quickly. And when it comes to sleep position, if you snore heavily or suspect sleep apnea, try sleeping on your side with a pillow for support. This alone can reduce airway obstruction. But if the warning signs I described are familiar, please speak to your doctor about a sleep study. That is the entire routine. 6 simple anchors that address every risk we have covered. Let us bring it together simply. The 5 habits that quietly increase nighttime cardiovascular risk in adults over 50 are: eating late and eating heavily, taking medications inconsistently or at the wrong time, living with undiagnosed or untreated sleep apnea, going to bed even mildly dehydrated, and sleeping in a room that is too warm, too cold, or flooded with blue light from screens. None of these require expensive treatments or major lifestyle overhauls. They require awareness and then small, consistent adjustments. The heart has been working for you every minute of every day for decades. While you sleep tonight, it will continue working, quietly, without rest, without complaint. The least we can do is make that work a little easier. If even one thing you heard today prompts a conversation with your doctor, about medication timing, about a sleep study, about that snoring your partner has been mentioning for years, then this video has done its job. If this was helpful to you, please subscribe to this channel. Every week I cover health topics that matter specifically to adults over 50, explained clearly, accurately, and without unnecessary alarm. And if you know someone, a parent, a partner, a close friend, who might benefit from what you just learned, please share this with them. You may not know in the moment what that sharing means to them. Take care of yourself tonight.